All right. So, time for another Only Murders in the Building podcast. And actually, Jessica, I'm going to throw you a little curveball. I know we talked about what we're going to say, but I'm going to throw you a little curveball.
Okay.
There are now 3 seasons of Only Murders in the Building.
Yeah.
Which are 10 episodes each. That's 30 episodes. If we continue doing 1 episode every other week, that means it's going to take us approximately 60 weeks to get through all of these episodes. So it's going to be more than a year before we finish up with our Only Murders in the Building. Can you last that long? Or are you going to just get itchy trigger finger and binge all of these in a day?
I want to so badly. I want to take this holiday break and just binge the show. I just want to keep all this equipment, recording equipment up in the bedroom. Just be like, Jacob, get into the bed on the other side.
Jacob, I'm feeling a little frisky. Time to record a podcast. Words every husband just loves to hear.
And yes, and we will just binge all day long. Which you are not a binger. So
I'm not a binger,
have to
but
do that alone.
What I will say, though, what I do want to say about all of this is that we looked to see if they were giving the New Yorker any kind of royalty payment or credit or something. They are, as far as I can tell, they're not, but they need to. Like, the New Yorker magazine deserves an executive producer credit on this show.
They do. Absolutely.
Catching the style. So we're watching season 1, episode 2, Who is Tim Kono?
Yeah.
And not only do they take the font for the title sequence, not only do they take a look from the illustrated covers of New Yorker.
Yeah.
Now when they do animation in this episode, it's very much harkening back to the black and white, clean line, cartoons of the New Yorker.
Yeah.
So I hope the New Yorker has some Condé Nast, get on it.
That was credited to a company named Elastic, and they hired a illustrator named Laura Perez. If I'm pronouncing that correctly, I apologize if I am not. But yeah, they should be giving credit to the New Yorker because that was in the brief, apparently, too.
Absolutely. See, there you go.
Another thing that I liked about that opener is Steve Martin's super brown hair as Brazos.
Yes.
When they show that Mabel is watching on YouTube old episodes of the Brazos TV show, and they show Steve Martin's character Charles Hayden in the interrogation room with a suspect, and he has this super brown hair and the shock that's flopping in front of his face. Steve Martin hasn't I looked it up. He has not had brown hair since 1971. He started to go gray and was gray by the time he was 32 years old.
Love it. Love it. This is the episode where things really start to pick up steam, including, I remembered last time I talked about how, they're all revealing their secrets to each other. Well, apparently they weren't. There was lots of lies still happening with all this, starting with what Jessica was just talking about when her first sequence, when she realizes, wait a minute, that was a speech directly from Brazos. So was he telling the truth? Was he lying? And she has reason to worry about because
Charles Hayden was giving a speech to Mabel in the first episode, but then she finds out after watching the episode that it was actually his. There were lines from a script. He claims when confronted about it, finally, that he got to write that monologue, and it was the only thing he actually got to write, and that it was true.
Right,
but. Do we think that?
Do we think that? And again, as Mabel says in that episode, sure, yes, but you knew it line for line. So in any event, but that comes later in the episode. First off, what happens in the episode is that she starts a vlog. She starts recording her thoughts about Tim Kono.
Yeah.
And then she goes in to talk to the guys. And then they all go down to
Turns out there's a memorial at the Arconia
in
apartment
the lobby.
building. That is so crazy.
And they're like, we don't know how to make this.
Apparently, it's for insurance reasons.
Who knows? Bunny, the board president, is just yes, we have to do this for insurance reasons. So a bunch of people show up at this. Okay, so we have to talk about really quickly. We have to talk about who all of these people are because maybe they're going to be suspects. Well, they're going to be suspects now. So there is Bunny, who is head of the co-op board,
right.
Dr. Stanley, who's a little thirsty for business and keeps saying...
He's a shrink.
He's a shrink, yes. He's you might need to talk to somebody about this.
And I'm on the 6th floor.
Yes.
I'm starting to wonder if we need to keep track of what floor people live on.
Oh, that's a good point. We also hear about Ms. Idoku, who really wants Tim's apartment. He's like, Bunny is like, I'll put you on the waiting list. And she's like, oh no, there's no waiting list. It's my apartment.
Yeah.
And then there's also Howard, who interrupts everything, really sad. And like, so Oliver, Martin Short's character, is like, oh, are you really upset? Did you know who Tim Kono was? He's like, no, it's just that my cat died, Evelyn. And everyone's like, wait, Evelyn died?
Oh, after they have been trashing Tim Kono. Like everybody at this memorial has nothing good to say.
Nobody likes him.
Yeah.
Nobody likes Tim Kono. Everybody's happy he's dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, but everybody's super upset about the cat, which, Jessica, point for you, I guess.
Thank you, because yes, I did say that there was going to be a dog killing, that it was going to be accidental, but I think because when Oliver and Charles Hayden and Mabel finally go to Tim Kono's apartment, they break in. They
totally
get to
surreptitiously.
Kind of surreptitiously get in, and there's blood on the floor that hasn't been cleaned up. There is cat paw marks in it.
Yes.
And so they're like, wait a minute, this is Evelyn. Because Evelyn would go around through all the window boxes and visit everybody else's apartments. And so everybody knew Evelyn and loved Evelyn. And they're all so sad. It's so tragic that the cat, I mean, I love my cat. It would be tragic.
It would be tragic, yes.
But it seems like maybe there was a poisoning or something.
Somehow the cat is dead. And and now at the end of the episode,
Tim Kono is dead.
Mabel is
cat
dead.
Is dead.
We also find
not
out
Mabel, Evelyn.
not Mabel, but Mabel is worried that she's going to be next. And what we learned through this episode is that Mabel and Tim Kono were friends, longtime friends. Mabel would come when she was a child to visit her aunt. And she was friends, and they both liked Hardy Boys, and they would go sleuthing through other people's apartments with their friend Zoe, who was a daughter, Oscar. And Oscar was the son of the super, and Zoe was the daughter of some rich family who owned all of like floor 11.
Yeah.
And they liked Hardy Boys mysteries, and there was a Hardy Boys mystery that they keep referencing called the Whale Tattoo Gang, who the criminals in that episode are a gang of teenage pickpockets. So Mabel and Zoe both have whale tattoos on their shoulder blades. We don't know if the boys do. But by the end of the episode, we know that Zoe is dead. Zoe was pushed from the building and during a New Year's Eve party. And Oscar took the rap for it.
Yeah.
And Oscar's just about to get out of jail. And when Mabel, previous to the series starting, confronted Tim about it, he didn't want to do anything about it. And apparently he knew something about the murder and didn't say anything about it.
And Mabel says in her vlog says it's the only thing he's lied about.
The only thing he's ever lied about.
He always tells the truth.
He's direct and blunt, but he never lies.
But I want to say, I think Mabel might be an unreliable narrator.
Oh, really?
Yes. Maybe Tim always told the truth. And, she's also accusing Charles Hayden of not telling the truth. But, we know that she's withholding information, but I think she is also withholding the truth. Because there's a moment where, in the flashback, where Zoe and they're preparing for the New Year's party, Zoe and Mabel, and they're standing in front of the mirror, and Mabel says, this is always so sad. It's the end of Christmas, because she doesn't live in the building. She only comes to visit her aunt
on holiday, like a week in summer and then over Christmas break.
And so she has to leave everybody, all of these friends that she has from the building. She has to go back to Long Island. And Zoe's like, oh, you have to go back to Long Island and go get finger fucked by your cousins. And I was like, oh my God, that's like harsh.
Yeah.
And Mabel just sort of laughs like, ha, ha. And, that's not nice. And I just wonder if actually that's her memory of her thinking that's not nice. But in fact, she was like, what the fuck?
Okay, so she got really super pissed.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. And then it shows her later on, when she's remembering the moment that Zoe was killed, that she looks up from the food table.
Where she's getting drunk.
Yeah, not the food table, really. The drinks, the bar on the rooftop. And she looks up totally scared and frightened. And like, why would you look that? Why, unless you anticipated something like that? Or maybe you're remembering how scared you're displacing how scared you are now and how frightening it is. Anyway, at the end of the episode, she says to her vlog, I'm recording this in case that you're coming for me, or they're coming for me.
Yeah, in case I'm next.
Oh, or I'm next. Yeah.
Yeah. And also, I want to say, well, you got the dog/cat thing right, but I think that body that she's over and that
In the
the
very
first
first
episode, I think that's
episode.
probably Oscar.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think she's going to probably get framed a little
Yeah.
bit for Oscar stuff. But that's still in the future. Right now, we have to check in with our guesses. Are we going to change our guesses? And I say yes. I'm going to change my guess. I'm going to say Bunny. I think that Bunny is
Oh.
behind it all because she's kind of a bee. And also, bunnies famously hate whales.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh no, this is long-standing.
I was
like
not
yeah,
aware.
like squids hate whales. Whales hate bunnies, and bunnies hate whales. Is that how that goes? No, whales hate squids. Squids hate bunnies. Bunnies hate whales. That's how that goes. Because whales hunt squids. So yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
whales hate squids. Squids hate bunnies. Bunnies hate whales. So that's how that goes. I mean, that's just biology 101, Jessica. I mean, I can't
Okay.
believe you don't know. It's like this when they talk to you about like the food chain or the food web or anything like that. Like the example they give is bunnies famously hate whales and like hunt down whales whenever they get the opportunity.
And little canaries hate putty cats.
No, it's the other way around. I mean, putty
cats.
tats do hate little Tweety birds. Yes.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
They love them?
Hate them.
Hate them.
Maybe it's a love-hate thing. I don't know. Like Warner Brothers was never very clear in their lessons on that, I have to say.
Yeah. And Tom and Jerry like each other.
Well, I mean, you can ship that a lot of different ways if you really wanted
You really
to.
can. It makes it very confusing.
Yeah.
Okay, so whales hate bunnies.
Bunnies hate whales.
Bunnies hate whales.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Well, so of my 4 guesses, I said serial killer. I said a dog is accidentally killed by somebody. So there's a dog killer. I said there's a lover's quarrel, and which it seems in the flashback that there was some sort of
Oscar's
lover's killer.
totally cheating on Zoe in the flashback, and Zoe's getting pissed off at him because like he totally like comes on to Mabel. There's definitely some quarreling happening.
Yeah. And then I said there was a cheesemonger.
Yes.
And at this memorial, it turns out that somebody in the building owns the famous deli in town.
Yeah, some
one
deli,
of the famous delis. And so I think maybe cheesemonger, deli monger.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
Deli
I'll allow it.
Same.
I'll allow it.
But, if I'm going to identify the serial killer, shoot, I might have to say Bunny too.
Oh, no.
No, but I got to be different. I got to be me. So I am going to say that it's actually the psychologist.
The psychologist. You're going with whoever
Yeah,
the doctor
I think
was.
that the doctor,
Dr. Stanley.
Yeah, he knows everybody. He knows all their business, and he's coming for them.
Ooh,
Yeah.
excellent.
And so I think he was arguing with Zoe, telling her she needs some more therapy. And she was like, I don't want to. And he was like, your family is rich and can definitely pay for whatever your bothersome teenager issues are. And then he accidentally kills her. And then I think he also maybe comes for... and then he's knows
got to cover his tracks.
He's got to cover his tracks, and so he comes for Tim Kono all these years later. But the thing is that this is really hard to stick to and say because there's also this whole thing with the jewelry.
Yeah, they've been stealing jewelry, and Tim has saved all the jewelry it looks like they've stolen through the years and hidden it in hollowed out copies of Hardy Boys books.
Yeah. And then there was the engagement ring that came up in the end of the
right.
first
and
episode.
First we were supposed to think that he was going to propose to somebody, and Mabel was convinced that not convinced, but Mabel would even suspect that he was going to propose to somebody. So
yeah, I mean, she put the ring on her finger, and she seemed
won't give
to
it
be
back.
imagining. Yeah.
Clearly, she clearly misses that relationship. Whether or not she would still go back to it, I don't think that she would. But she clearly misses that kind of like young love, we were all together kind of thing going on.
Friends, and maybe there's like a classist thing there. But maybe we didn't see her look inside the ring, but maybe it has initials of somebody because it belongs to somebody in the building, actually.
Well, and that's part of it. Like, I'm wondering if Tim was like pulling all these things back to like give them back to people, and somehow, like he would be direct, but he wouldn't lie. And I'm wondering if he could like rationalize the stealing if he's just like, I'm eventually going to give it all back to them. And so maybe like he tracked down where this ring belonged to somebody in the building, and he tracked it down and bought it. And maybe that's what he's been doing. Like, he's been going around, he's in money troubles because he's been going around buying all this jewelry back from where like Oscar or Zoe sold it to get money, and he's been gradually bringing it all back so he could give it back to the people.
Yeah. Or I wonder if he sold it after Oscar went away, and because it was something Oscar was going to give to Zoe.
Maybe I don't know. I guess there's only one thing for us to do, Jessica.
We have to watch another episode.
We have to watch another episode. So here we go. We'll go do that, and we'll see you soon.
See you soon.